Do you think that years of domestic violence should matter to people? Do you think that being assaulted and having your life threatened and your children's lives threatened should matter to people? In the case that we're going to talk about today, those things are true, but they are not the headlines. Not at all. And that's why we're going to cover this case. I don't know. Hello. If you are new, welcome. My name is April Hardy. I am a domestic violence survivor, advocate, and author. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. You guys, your views, which equals your presence, and your comments mean so much to me. They really do. I read an email earlier today from a woman whose daughter and infant grandchild were murdered by her intimate partner. You know, like I connected with her on Facebook a little while ago, and so hopefully we will be doing work together in the future, and I believe that we're going to do an interview here in the next couple of weeks so that she can talk a little bit more about her daughter and her daughter's story and how that's affecting their lives, because these things don't just affect the person that died. They don't. I sent her to my YouTube channel and she said she started watching and she's hooked. And that she wished that she would have seen this channel before her daughter was murdered. Because some of these things are common sense things and you just sort of take them for granted. And sometimes they're common sense things for the lay person, for lack of better words. But for somebody who's in the middle of it, it's not common sense. Like your emotions and your commitment to that person or your history, or there are different things that factor in there that make you blind to some things. So thank you for being with me. I hope that you will continue to watch. I hope that you will continue to like. I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already and share this material. I want to help save lives. This week we're going to talk about the murder, and then we will talk about the history, and then we're going to talk just a little bit about what happened after the murder, and that's going to be the majority of this video. I don't have hardly any information to be able to honor her with, but this video in itself is going to honor her because it's going to talk about her story a little bit where I feel like it's really getting missed. It's important for the tribute part because she's being overshadowed, and it's important for you learning wise, and it's important to address the legal system as far as domestic violence goes. So please stick with me. It's not going to be a huge video as long as I shut up now. Stay to the end. I really would like your input in the comments on this legal stuff. On the morning of Saturday, July 31st, Christopher Turner, 26, from St. Louis, Missouri, waited outside the home of his ex-father-in-law with a gun. Shortly after, his ex-wife, 27-year-old Charlisa Turner, also of St. Louis, arrived there to pick up their kids. He ambushed her. The attack was caught on home surveillance cameras. Now, I didn't realize how much information in the news media differed from one outlet to another until I started doing this and trying to compile all this information together. So in this case, like in lots of the other ones, the reports on the amounts of times that Christopher shot Charlisa differs. Most of them, though, say that he shot her 3 times, then walked calmly back to his car, and then came back and shot her another 3 to 5 times. That's the basic gist that you're getting. Their 3 children, Levi, who is 6, Logan, who is 5, and Christina, who is 2, were asleep in their grandpa's house as their mother was being murdered outside. People.com reported that when Christopher drove away, Charlisa's father jumped into his car and tried to chase after him, but wasn't able to catch up to him. Again, one news source said that she died at the scene. Another news source said that she was transported to a hospital where she succumbed to her injuries. I don't know which of those is true because there was only one outlet that said either way. So if you know, put it in the comments below. I would appreciate knowing that. we're gonna get to what is overshadowing Charlisa last. That's gonna be the last thing that we talk about because it's so overshadowing. I want to talk about the history of their relationship. And this couple got married when they were teenagers. By my math, I would say 2013. I don't know what month, so it could be right around there, but 2013 is what we're gonna go with. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. In 2015, she got a restraining order against him, which then she rescinded a few months later. So let's talk about that for just a second. She got a restraining order against her husband while they were married. Often when you hear about somebody getting a restraining order against somebody, it's because they're not together anymore or they were never together in the first place. The amount of times that I hear about somebody getting a restraining order against their spouse while they're married and not in the process of getting a divorce or something like that, that's rare, which means to me that it's significant that she was willing to go that far while they were together. Now, I'm sure that there's probably a story there. Maybe they had separated at that time. I don't know. But obviously for a restraining order, I don't know what the cause was of this restraining order, but she was scared. So 2013 married, 2015 scared. He's able to talk her out of it. She rescinds. Or she's more scared and she rescinds. Either way, 2017, she files for divorce. Again, with that, she rescinds it, drops that whole pursuit after a few months. So she does not divorce him at that time. But what caused her to want to divorce him 2 years after having a protection order against him? What happened in those 2 years? What happened in the 2 years before that? There's an awful lot that we don't know. I have very limited information about this case, but what information I do have is enough for me to be able to piece some things together. So in 2019, she does divorce him. 6 years after they had gotten married. Tells me that stuff is still continuing, and it's interesting how all of these are 2-year intervals. I don't know what that's about, but according to court records cited by the Post-Dispatch, he was arrested in 2019. Doesn't say if it was before or after she divorced him, but he was arrested in 2019 on, quote, suspicion of domestic assault for threatening to kill her and their kids while holding a gun. It's really a polite way to say it when I say that the criminal justice system does not do a good job of protecting people, women or men, from their abusers. I don't know why somebody got suspicion, not even actually doing it, suspicion of domestic assault for threatening to kill her. But I want to read you the definition of terroristic threats. I don't understand why he didn't get this. So a terroristic threat, offense defined, the very first thing that it has, a person commits a crime of terroristic threats if a person communicates either directly or indirectly a threat to 1. Commit a crime of violence with intent to terrorize another. Does that not qualify? You're holding a gun telling you that you're going to kill them and their children. Of course that qualifies. That should be a thing. Grading of terroristic threat. An offense under subsection A constitutes a misdemeanor, which is insane to me anyway, for a misdemeanor of first degree unless the threat blah 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 constitutes a misdemeanor of the first degree unless the threat causes the occupants of the building, the place of assembly, or facility of public transportation to be diverted from their normal or customary operations, in which case this offense constitutes a felony of the third degree. So if she changed her behavior from normal because her life was threatened and her children's lives were threatened, it should constitute a felony. Now, I could be saying that wrong, but I believe that's how that should be, even if I'm saying it wrong. Now, if she had this happen and then divorced him because of it, that's definitely a change of your normal behavior because of fear of this threat. Again, I don't know in the timeline where that happens. At any rate, he is arrested on suspicion of domestic assault for threatening to kill them while in possession of a gun. So Charlisa's aunt, Rosalind Moore, told a newspaper that one of their kids told her, "I knew he was going to kill my mommy." And her Aunt Moore said that Chris would tell the children that he was going to kill them. So not only did he do it in this one incident, but she's saying that he would tell the kids that, like, more than once. He would tell the kids that he was going to kill them. So the kids are afraid. In July of 2020, a judge found that Charlisa, quote, denied and interfered with her ex-husband's access to their children, quote, without good cause, and fined her $250. Now I realize that she rescinded the protection order, but still this history looks to me like a woman who knew that she was in danger, knew that her kids were in danger, was trying to do things to the best of her ability to protect them. And this judge went and said, not only is that not okay for you to try to protect them, but I'm going to fault you and fine you for it. And that is a really good reflection of what the legal system is like when you're in these types of situations. I'm going to contrast that to a case that I have been talking with the woman of earlier today, where she moved out of state to get away from her abuser, took the kids, moved out of state with them legally. He followed her to another state, moved out of state to the state where she is now. They are still in the court process fighting over custody of the kids, because he's using that as a way to continue to abuse her. He has visitation rights, and the kids are with him right now for his visitation, which is legal, okay? So he takes them out of state on his visitation time without her knowledge, and then tells her that she needs to drive to this other state to come and pick them up because he's not going to bring them back. She has to come and get them, even though he lives here also in the same state with her. She has to go and pick the kids up. That puts her in danger, similar to this case where this woman was murdered while dealing with children. There have been others, multiple others, that have been murdered like during transfer of children for visitation and stuff, where the abuser uses the children to get access to the mom. That is so not uncommon. So this woman has to drive to another state by law in order to get her kids back, because the paperwork was originally done in this other state and there's nothing she can legally do. She has an attorney that is dealing with this or trying to deal with this. They've been in touch with the sheriff. The police will not take the kids from him, and they won't force him to let the kids go with her friend. She has to show up at the place that he is so that he can give the kids to her. They will not help her at all, and that puts her in extreme danger. She has to leave all of her support network and go to another state by herself. I mean, they recommended that she take a friend, but realistically, friends can die too, and they do. Family members that are around when these attacks happen often die also, or friends, whatever. She needs law enforcement to be able to be there. And we need for the government and law enforcement and the laws to be able to help in situations like this, not make things harder. So I don't know all of the details of Charlisa's experience, but I can see enough of the markers there, and clearly he's an issue because he's threatened her and the kids' lives. He's in possession of a gun, and then later he used it to actually end her life. I mean, it very clearly, this guy is a threat. And you don't see every piece of this puzzle as it's happening, but there are enough big markers for me to know that there are lots of little things that are going on also. And he is using and abusing the court system at least a little bit, because he got her fined for not letting him see the kids, when clearly he shouldn't have been able to see the kids. If he's threatening to kill them, he shouldn't have access to them. And her trying to be a protective mother, which is her job, she got fined for. Meanwhile, if she wouldn't have tried to protect them, she could have gotten fined for that too. And that is a position that lots of single parents, single moms are in these types of abusive relationships, and they know that, or they can find that out and exploit that gray area of the law so well. And that is what is happening in this case, at least there. We interrupt this broadcast for an important message. If you didn't know, I am the author of the book, In Case I'm Murdered, What You Should Know About Stalking, Domestic Violence, Sexual Abuse, and How to Stay Safe. I will link in the description where you can find this book. It is an excellent resource for women. It has some of the best information that I have come across in years of studying this stuff and practicing it in my own life. I wanted to be able to give it to you in case I was murdered, so that you could stand a chance. So check that out. Okay, so let's talk about now after. He is being held on $1 million cash bond after being charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. As of the time of me putting this information together, he had yet to enter any kind of a plea like guilty or innocent. Now, the part that is getting all of the media attention is the fact that this guy had a girlfriend, or what has been labeled a girlfriend in the media. I don't know 100% where that is at. He confessed to the murder to her and then hid at her apartment for a couple of days after he murdered Charlisa.
A St. Louis County Crime Lab employee faces charges for hiding her fugitive boyfriend, and he's now facing murder charges. And that Crime Lab employee is behind bars tonight for hindering the police investigation.
Until the police found him and arrested him. And then reportedly he did confess to the police later on that he had shot her, which, I mean, I guess was smart on his behalf because there was video evidence of it, so it's not like he's gonna really be able to deny it, but a lot of people try to anyway. According to a probable cause statement, the woman bought him food and clothes to help him hide from the police, and also initially lied to the police, but then later she admitted that she had helped him hide. Tameah, I think it's Tameah Foley, 25, also from St. Louis, was suspended from her job as a police forensic technician and charged with 2 felony counts of hindering the prosecution of a felony. She has been jailed on a $50,000 bond, according to the county prosecutor. So St. Louis County Police spokeswoman Sergeant Tracy Panis said that Foley has been suspended without pay from her entry-level job as a forensic technician. She said that the job, quote, requires no interpretation of data or reporting of results, and that Tameah was hired in March of 2020. So she hasn't worked there all that long, but because she worked for the police department in any capacity at all, and then she hid this guy and lied about him, that is what's in the media big time. And it's part of it. It's not that it's not important, but the media is missing this long history. I was looking at comments on Facebook about this article, about this case, and of course everybody, like I said, is focused on this woman who was foolish enough to hide this guy for a little while and throw away her life in this case. So I picked out 2 comments because I want to present both sides, just kind of food for thought. Shanta says, another female who threw a great life away for a murdering, moralist man. Years of school to become a forensic lab tech, and now you're a felon. And obviously she's taking the position of, you made a really stupid move. And I wanted to highlight that because aside from the fact that that's probably the perspective that most of the people were taking, either that and or there's a whole bunch of, she threw away her job, a good career for this guy. Like, almost nobody even mentioned the woman that got murdered. She was just sort of an afterthought type of thing. I realize we do a lot of stupid things sometimes for the people that we're in a relationship with. Sometimes to show them how down we are, sometimes to show them that we love them, sometimes to show our support for them, and sometimes for the reason that this other person, Crystalline, said. She said, imagine hearing what he did, and this killer is in your face, fresh from taking someone's life and asking to hide him. I honestly would be scared as F. And that could be it too. It could just be that she was scared. I've told people for a long time that when I watch movies about like drug lords or gangsters and things like that, they usually have a woman, usually a really good looking woman, who is with the head guy, right? And I always feel bad for that woman because I've been that woman, and I know that she is not there of her own free will. Almost ever, if ever. She is scared, and she knows that her life is in danger if she leaves, so she's trying to play her cards the best that she can to stay alive in the situation that life has put her in. So I don't know if this woman, I don't know which camp she falls into, but for you, whether it is you're making decisions that you know aren't good because you're trying to show that you love somebody who, to be honest, if they loved you, wouldn't put you in that situation in the first place. Or whether you fall into the other camp where you are scared. If you're scared, consider that a reason to figure out how to get out of that situation. Because if you're scared, there's a reason for you to be scared. It's legitimate. You're in danger and you need to get yourself out of that situation. I totally understand playing your cards right until such a time when you can get out. I get that. I did that. I've heard of lots of other people doing that. That's no shame or blame there from me. I get it. But you still need to have the end goal as getting out. not just continuing to play that game, because eventually it'll catch up with you anyway. We're just sort of buying time to be able to escape that way. And like I said, if you fall into the other camp, somebody that was going to treat you the way that you should be treated wouldn't put you in the position that you have to make decisions that go against what you believe to such an extent as this, or even lesser, but extreme extents. And abusers are really good at putting you in those positions. I will put a link in the description below. There is a GoFundMe page up for Charlisa's kids. I believe, if I understand it right, they're going to stay with her father and her stepmother, and they're going to raise them. I think it's the plan, but they're asking for help because obviously this is 3 kids who are very young, who lost their mother and their father. So if you feel compelled to help them, you're definitely able to do that. I also would really appreciate your comments about the legal system. What has been your experience with it? Have you had any experience with it as far as domestic violence goes, as far as stalking goes, as far as sexual assault goes? Maybe within a domestic violence situation, maybe not. But any of these intimate crimes, what has been your experience with the legal system? Did you feel like they were protecting you and that you had rights? Or did you feel like they were protecting the bad guy and they had rights? I look forward to talking to you more in the comments. If you feel like your life is in danger, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. I'm going to put that number on the screen. Definitely make a safety plan. You can do it with them. You can get a hold of me and I can provide you with a safety plan outline, but you want to think about what you're going to do in this case and in that case, in case these things happen, so that you're already prepared ahead of time and you have a plan. I don't remember who it was right now that said if failing to plan is planning to fail. This is not a situation where you want to fail. Life or death situations are not where you want to fail, so you need a safety plan and you need a support network, even a support person. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Don't do this alone. Until I see you again, stay safe.